Save room for our love. All right, for many parents, navigating relationships and adapting to a new normal can be a challenge. It's a topic we're discussing this morning in our Vlad to Dad series, where we help Vlad, who is still here with us, prepare for fatherhood. Licensed marriage and family therapist Dr. George James has some tips for couples on how to embrace parenthood while keeping their relationship strong. Good morning, Dr. James. How are you doing?
Good morning. Glad to be here.
All right, so how does having a baby change the dynamic in a relationship?
I mean, you have a baby and literally in moments, your whole world shifts. It changes. You go from excitement and euphoria to maybe sometimes a little resentment and difficulty. Thinking about parenting, ways that you want to parent. And even if you think about me time, that goes out the table.
That's true.
Right? So, there's a lot that changes.
Nate just said right away, that's true.
Ain't no me time. It's we time.
Right. It's baby time.
Yeah, that's a fact.
So it's interesting that you point that out, because I did have a friend in France who once said to me that when his child was born, he was a little resentful, even though he loved the baby, loves the mom, but the mother's focus was 100% on the child. Anything that was going on between them before was not happening. And he was sort of like, what am I, chopped liver? So how do you overcome those feelings?
So it happens, and I think it happens for a lot of dads where they start to feel a little jealous, a little resentment. Some of it is to recognize that the baby is going to be front and center, but that's why communication is so important. Being able to talk with each other and figure out a game plan. How are we going to stay connected? What are we going to do? How are we going to make sure we take care of baby, but also take care of the relationship? It's easier said than done, but it is possible to make sure that you do that.
So what do you recommend? What are some steps parents can do before the baby arrives? Because, Vlad, you have...
I got January 29th.
Yes.
Is the
yes.
And then
The final countdown.
What I would say first, right, is to make sure you communicate. Have a plan and a backup plan. And what happens for a lot of parents, as you know, is that once you have a plan, it goes right out the window as soon as the baby comes. That means, what are you going to do at night? Who's going to feed? Who's going to take turns? If mom's nursing, are you going to change the baby? If mom is using formula, are you going to use both of you be able to feed the baby? Find out your plan ahead of time.
Yeah, and when talking about that plan, you mentioned making time for each other, which is important. It's not just on an emotional level, but of course on a physical level too.
Yes.
You know, we talk about keeping the relationship strong, also keeping it spicy.
That's right.
How do you do that?
So there's two parts of that. I like to say to people, non-sexual intimacy, which is around connection, sitting on the couch, holding hands, doing those things.
It's huge.
Make sure you do that. Asking each other, babe, how are you doing today? Are you okay? And then there's sexual intimacy, which kind of falls to the wayside a little bit, and being able to communicate about that, because your body might be ready, but your emotions might not be. You might be fatigued, overwhelmed. So being able to connect and say, we will get there. Let's find other ways to stay connected.
Do you believe men need to have more sensitivity and maybe even information and education on what a woman may be going through after the baby?
I think historically, yes, lots of men have probably needed a little bit more sensitivity in that area. And what I would say is it's okay to embrace all your feelings, right? Feel the feelings, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to feel joy, excitement, euphoria. And maybe, hey, what about me?
Right.
And it's okay to express that and be patient.
there's also a lot of focus on the mother, because, of course, we're the ones going through the physical part of this, but don't forget that you're going through stuff too, and a dad.
Thank you, Adriana.
No, it's true. I mean, obviously the mother's a priority.
Yes, of
and your
course.
wife is in the green room.
Yeah.
But
we also did our part too to help with what's going on.
That's true. But there's a lot of ups and downs with the dad as well, and so there might be highs and lows, and just know that that's okay.
That's great advice. That's great advice.
It is important to keep that in mind, because I often think that one of the pitfalls is that we imagine, well, I'm not involved in these discussions because the woman is the one who went through the 9 months and the pain of delivery, and so I'm just going to stay out of this and let her make all the decisions. But there's room for us too.
There's so much room. And what we've seen is 50% more of dads say they're more engaged, they're saying that I love you, they're reading with their kids, they're more involved than their fathers from before. And if I could say one last thing, right?
Okay, give me
Here it is.
The most important thing. Talk to me.
We're out of time.
James.
Just kidding.
And this comes from a real source. Miss Sarah Green, who recently passed at the ripe, wonderful age of 100, said, don't be a lazy parent. And that is so important. That means stay engaged, be involved, be the dad you want to be, and also don't be a lazy partner. Be connected to your spouse. Don't let her go.
Dr. James,
good to go.
thank you so much. We will be right back.